No. Rhodri.
Is there anything that Lionel Messi is better than you at? It's opinions. I respect your opinions. Maybe in your opinion Messi is better than me, but in my mind I'm better than him.
I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Told her if it's all me, everything is on me. Gon' back it up. Matter what? Told you I'ma do me. Why you hating on me? It's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck. Country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month. I don't rap much. I just hit the money and go stack up. Only buy car cards and get tatted up. All that other bull, it don't matter much. You only climb me, I put the ladders up. No fault, I done doubled up on the workload. I think I fell in love with the bankroll. Pray up, get money, then we lay low. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up,
Hey guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Ace Podcast Nation at the home of Rhodri Giggs on football. This is Series 1, Episode number 2. Show is live on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. Ace Podcast Nation, of course, as you know, home to many great shows and series featuring top guests, expert analysts and more. And some of those series will make their triumphant return very soon. But please do give us a follow on social media to keep up to date with all that stuff. And, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Get all the shows and videos first. And, of course, if you prefer your podcast in audio form, then we are now part of the Sports Social Podcast Network, the UK's first dedicated sports podcast network. So do find the show there. You can find all the shows produced by Ace Podcast Nation there, all with their own separate websites, pages and whatnot. You can find them at our social media pages, but do check them out. Check out Sports Social as well, because it's a massive help to us. If you download those audio versions, helps us out a lot, helps us grow, which is all that we need. But just as we wait for a few of the latecomers to join us, as you know, we are supporting the charity Super 6 League this season and helping to raise some money for two great charities, including Maggie's Centre and Mind's mental health charity. And, of course, no Super 6 this week, so it's pretty much as it stands from Monday, with Mike Richards, or Grandad as he's known, tops the round with 10 points. Dale Perry was close behind, only second by the golden goal prediction. And after another good round, Gareth Price is still top of the league, but someone needs to knock him off his perch because he's getting a bit settled there. And of course, Cardiff City legend Cohen Griffith is still the man to beat in the ex-players league, or little competition as it were. But if you'd like to join the league, or all the details, the links are in the description. Contact Will Meliush, who's probably in the live chat. And there's a Facebook group which you can join, linked in the description as well. It's over 90 players. We've raised, I think, £800 for charity, £500, £540 in the prize pot. So all for a good cause and a lot of fun. And I have actually remembered to do my predictions this week. I did them on like Monday to make sure. But let's get into it, as it were. And I am delighted, as always, to welcome my co-host for this series back to the channel after his stint in the Euros. A successful first episode as well. It's Ex Salford City winger, manager, Mr. Rhodri Giggs. Welcome back, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Some kids are stressing me out, man. As I just had to mute myself as I was like, just then. But
it's not just as we were speaking before you come on air, though, back to school, so it's not so bad. Just
takes the pressure off a little bit, doesn't it? Like, I've got like 3 teenagers. They're just too much testosterone going around my house at the moment. It's just unreal. Everyone thinks they're in the right. But, yeah, it is what it is, mate. It's all good. I'll be glad when the international break is over, mate, which is luckily tomorrow. So I'm quite excited about that. There's loads to look forward to over the weekend. So we'll have a little chat about that in a bit. with the we'll have a look at some of the Premier League games and whatnot. But yeah, it's going to be good, mate. So we'll start off with the thing which we started last week, weekly Magnificent Seven. So just 7 general questions for you. Could be about the season, could be about the week gone by. They'll change each week. So really putting you on the spot, really. But there we go. That's what we decided. We weren't going to plan anything. So we'll see how it goes, mate. So the first question is, which player do you think will get the most bookings or send-ins off this season? Or who do you think is going to have the biggest disciplinary problems? If you had to pick one.
Oh, that's
a tricky one, that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a tricky one because there's not really any.
There's not like a Keane or a Vieira or someone like that who stands out, is there?
You know, Fernandinho's a serial fouler, but you don't get your carded for it, so.
No.
That's a tough one.
Picks up. I mean, Xhaka is probably a fairly decent shout with Arsenal. He seems to get sent off every other week.
Xhaka. Who else? I can't really think of anyone else. Yeah, Xhaka is the only one that really comes to mind. There used to be loads back in the day, but
yeah, Jordan Henderson and Fred, people like that. They pick up a lot of like yellow cards, but like you say, more like serial foulers who pick up regular yellow cards as opposed to like constantly in trouble or getting sent off or booked. And like even people like Robbie Savage used to get booked like every week just from just tackling and moaning. Yeah, there's not really, is there? I'm trying to think now. Who's like when you go through like the Premier League teams, there's not like a player which stands out as being whether it's
maybe
like
the Leicester centre half, what's his name?
Which one? The one with long hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a good Euros. Yeah, I like him. I can't remember his name though. Someone will say in the chat now. But yeah, he's probably a good shout.
He doesn't mind giving away a few yellow though. So sometimes professional fouls, sometimes are good yellows to give away, but
sometimes you got him, mate, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely. Next question is: which one team do you think is in trouble this year?
Norwich.
I think that's a fair shout.
Norwich could be Watford as well. Obviously Arsenal. But
yeah, they're in big trouble.
They will upset the Gunners. Yeah, Arsenal, Watford, or Norwich. They look like they're going to struggle.
It's mad, that isn't it? Arsenal's in that conversation.
Get out of it, and they'll finish the usual mid-table. But Watford Watford are a good result. Norwich though, Norwich look like they haven't learned anything from last time. Well,
with Norwich, the last time they came up 2 seasons ago, they didn't sign anyone, did they? They went in literally with their championship squad, and I know I think they've picked up a couple of players, but they haven't really, like, when I look at it, and I don't think, they really strengthened.
But that experience, mate, it's invaluable, and they've had the experience. So obviously they've not learned from their experience, and they keep on, or maybe they're just not good enough.
But then that's what I mean. Why, like, to me, I could understand why they gave those players a chance the first time they came up a couple of seasons ago. I can understand giving those players a go. They're the players that got you there. They were a very good team in the championship, but it didn't work like at all. So they should have made sure to strengthen in the vital areas this year. And I don't know if they have, but time will tell. A few people saying Sheffield United. Donna says Derby are going to struggle in the championship this year. I think a few people saying Arsenal as well. It's crazy to me that
Derby will struggle just for being lack of numbers.
Yeah. The thing I think I said to Andy, it might be in the last show we done actually, but like the thing with what I think Rooney's done quite well is right before the sort of transfer window closed, he brought in a couple of really good, experienced, like Championship and Premier League footballers. They might be coming to the end of their career, but they won't panic under that pressure if Derby, if they do lose a few games on the bounce and stuff like that. And I think those sorts of players might dig them out of trouble a bit. Reece says,
they've got championship experience themselves with it.
Yeah, of course they
Jack Elka's been in the championship. So they've all got experience as well. But yeah, it's difficult when
Uphill.
you've got players. Them games thick and fast every week, twice a week.
Yeah, Championship's brutal, isn't it? Like just the speed the games come at. It's if you haven't got a big enough squad, and that's why I think Cardiff will struggle this year because they've streamlined their wage bill, but they've left themselves way short, in my opinion. But time will tell, I guess. Reece is the player you want about. It's Soyuncu. Is that the one from Leicester? I don't know how you pronounce that, but I think that's the defender. He had really good Euros, actually. But I think Leicester, again, are going to do quite well, but we'll might discuss that in a minute. Most likely team to go up from Championship?
West Brom.
Good shout. Which young player do you think will make an impact in the Premier League this year?
I know he has in the last 2 years, but I just still think this kid's going to keep getting better and better. So I have to say Mason Greenwood.
Yes, I tend to agree with that one. I got to be honest. And the thing is, he is so young, isn't he? He might have played a couple of seasons, but
20, still 20, 19, 20.
20 years old, looking good already, and he gets to train with Ronaldo and Cavani every week, every day now. Like, do you know what I mean? That's only going to be good for him.
Yep.
Player who you think may struggle this year?
Player that I think may struggle. Ooh.
I guess it depends what you think of as struggle. If you think of it as struggle from a performance point of view, or struggle to get games, or struggle just generally,
for performance, this might shock people. But just in the first year, I think Jack Grealish might struggle in the City side.
Yeah, a couple of people said that there. Yeah, I'm not. It's going to take him a bit of time, innit? I think like Jesse Lingard is going to struggle for games, for minutes, even in the cup games. I was amazed he stayed at United. I thought it was really weird. I do think, however, it's probably because he's in charge of where he goes now. If he doesn't sign another contract between now and January, he's going to get a big payday. He's going to get a big contract. So I do wonder if he didn't fancy West Ham on a permanent basis for whatever reason. Maybe he fancied to move abroad or whatever. Like, he's in control of where he goes now, isn't he? It's where it is. Like, but can't blame him really.
No, he backed himself to think, I'm good enough to be in this team. So he's got to perform like he did last year, and he'll get more games if he does perform and score goals. But he's got to be given the opportunity, and given the opportunity in the right place, not in the wrong position, because that would be unfair for him.
Yeah, and that, funny enough, fitting someone into the wrong position is something I'm going to ask you about in a bit. But with Lingard, like, to me, he's just not going to play. Like, no matter how good he does in training, no matter how good he might do for England, there's two players ahead of him in all the positions that he would normally play. And I think when you've got that, and then even some of them will probably interchange ahead of him as well. And I think it's a weird one, because when he left because there was, he wasn't getting picked and he wasn't getting game time. He went and played amazing or really well for West Ham. He's come back. Nothing's really changed. Like, in fact, it's probably got more difficult for him to get a first team spot because of the players that have come in. So, look, fair play to him for backing himself. And also, he's, like I say, not many footballers get to be in the control of their own destiny in terms of where they're going to go and stuff.
If he comes in and performs and scores goals, or makes goals, they can't leave him out. They'll make a place for him. It's either one of two positions. So that's either Bruno, or you can put Pogba where Pogba plays. But that only leaves one holding midfielder. So yeah, they got to. I mean, he's almost adapted it a little bit to fit Pogba in, haven't he? Because Pogba's been playing on that left-hand side. Well, Pogba's good enough player that you can do that. You can play. You can build the kind of team around him, but he's got to perform now as well. All these players, especially Pogba, was screaming for, I don't know about if I'm going to sign your contract. I want better players at the club. There you go. You've got better players at the club. Now
you're not guaranteed. You got better players at the club now, but you're not guaranteed that you'll be able to start. Is the only problem.
Not if you don't perform, and Jesse Lingard comes in and scores goals and stuff. But Pogba started really well. I can just see him raising his game with better players.
Yeah, and especially because his contract, and it's not necessarily directed at him, just players generally. When their contracts are up, they tend to excel a little bit because they're in the shop window for their club, for other clubs. It's just the way it is. Surprise team of the season.
Cut off then. Surprise team of the season, you said?
Yeah.
It's only been 3 games, so it's difficult, isn't it? So
yeah,
I'd say Everton look good.
I thought they looked good on paper last year, though, and they just didn't quite happen for them. Like, you look at some of the players they got some really good footballers, but it's whether they can get it going on paper.
Yeah, I'd say Everton because he was under pressure when he come in because obviously his history with Liverpool. There's a good manager that's just left, but yeah, they look. I like Benitez. He's a good manager. He's up there with one of the best around. So they've got a good manager there, and if they keep the players and they keep the players fit, I think they'll do well again.
Yeah, he rarely fails, does he? But he has, in all honesty, like he's done a pretty good job wherever he goes. A few interesting comments though. Holgate that says Lingard for me is going to waste a season of football for him. Do you agree with that? That he could end up wasting a season?
I've talked about this week. It's a difficult one because he's obviously backing himself and he loves the club. Plus, he was a kid when Ronaldo, so he might want to play with Ronaldo. And what you said, if the worst comes to the worst, then I can leave and I can get a big pile of money. So,
yeah,
yes, but in my opinion, at his age, at 28, he should be playing. I know he's a fit lad. He can play for another 10 years, but them 10 years go quick. And with such a good season at West Ham, yeah, it's a difficult decision. But he's backed himself, and you've got to admire that, to be honest. But
yeah, and I think
when he plays, he's just got to score.
I think people are sometimes underestimate as well the pull that not Man United necessarily, but when you've been at a club since you were a kid, and now you're 28, like he's been there a long time. So just the sentimental side of it, it's going to be difficult to walk away from that, especially like you mentioned when you've got Ronaldo coming back to the team and stuff like that. Of course, there's a bit of a pull, but for me, I felt like he should have followed up that half a season with West Ham by moving and really pushing on at the age he's at. But he'll probably go somewhere in January, I would imagine, or at least sign a contract with someone.
I still think there's something to. I still think he's got something to prove. So I think that he could have another good season with Man United.
Okay, that's interesting because
and then not go to a team like West Ham, go to a team, like Everton or
Leicester, maybe.
Leicester, Arsenal.
Relegation fodder. Arsenal relegation fodder.
Lingard would improve Arsenal's team. No doubt.
Of course he would, yeah.
No doubt. And he would play every week and it'd improve the team. So teams like that, he would walk into.
Yeah. What I don't want to see with Jesse Lingard, because I do think he's a good footballer. What I would like to do, what I don't want to see him do is what we talked about Phil Jones last week. Like, I don't want to see him go down that route where you end up with like he's been at United training, but he hasn't played for like 3 years and then he's 31. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if we're still having this conversation in 3 years' time, that's a waste, isn't it?
I personally know his father. I've known him a long time, so I kind of know Jesse's mentality. That's not going to happen. So
yeah, That's good. I know, like he rubs people up the wrong way. I think from the outside with some of the social media
stuff.
He
wants to play him when he doesn't. Even when Mourinho was manager, when he wants to play, he doesn't play. He's one of them that'll knock on the manager and what's going on? Why am I not playing? So he don't stay quiet. He's got a voice.
Yeah.
But,
good stuff.
Ultimately, with the squad he's got now, when you're in, you've got to do well to stay in, and he knows that. He knows that. But he's got to be given a reasonable chance.
Yeah, and I think that takes me into the one of the subjects I was going to ask you about, which is Donny van de Beek. So, which we're going to talk about the Brazil and Argentina thing in a minute, but like the Brazil players can't play this weekend, so Fred is out of the United team. McTominay's just coming back from surgery, so United haven't really got a holding midfielder. And a lot of people are saying if he doesn't pick Van de Beek or he picks Matic over Van de Beek, that shows that he doesn't fancy him, blah, blah, blah. But to me, Van de Beek's not a holding midfielder. I think he can play next to a holding midfielder, but I think it would be quite brutal to chuck him in as the holding midfielder with all that attacking talent in front of him and expect him to do that job, because that's not the job he does. That's not the player he is. And I don't know. What do you think of, like, do you think it's a big thing?
There's a video clip of Man United training and Fred and Van de Beek defending, and Fred tears him a new arsehole and like twists him up. I think they put that out for a reason. He cannot play a holding midfielder. So, and it's not his game. His game's one-touch football, get in the box, scoring goals. So, and you've got Matic there, and you could
Lindelof.
I very much doubt it. Yeah, because Lindelof. If you were going to put Lindelof there, you'd have to work on it for a week. He's probably got home last night from international duty, coming training today, and he's got a game tomorrow. So they can't work on it properly. So I just see Matic all day, Pogba, and Fernandes.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? Just to put slot Matic in there. And I think the way Newcastle play, they only need one holding midfielder. I do think, actually, Van de Beek could be quite an asset to United alongside like Fred or McTominay or someone, and playing from deep while Pogba and Fernandes are further forward. But he's got to be given a chance, mate. He can't do it off the bench.
No, he needs to be given the proper chance. He's not really been given a good run of games, but it's a tough skill. You're at Man United, you've got to come in and hit the ground running. If you don't, you get left behind. It's just as simple as that. I've seen it so many times with good players coming in. People talk about Juan Basten Verón, how he's a bad player. Do me a favour. He was a brilliant player. He just had Paul Scholes and Roy Keane in front of him. He had fucking no chance. So it was just, it's just one of them. You've just got to perform when you're in. If you're not, it's a tough skill, and that's what you signed up for.
You've got to take your chances when you get them, and of course there's pressure which comes with that. Like you look at Rashford when he made his debut. I think Martial, got injured in the warm up, and Van Gaal had the choice of either I chuck this kid in, or I chuck one of the midfielders up front or winger up front. He went with Rashford. Rashford scored 2. The rest is history, of course. But like Rashford had to take that chance. If he had gone in and been a bit starstruck and struggled, then he might not have got another chance till the end of the season or the next season. And at the big clubs in the big games, you've got to just take your chance, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes here and there, or whether it's a run of games. You've just got to do it. Alexander Oliveira is back. Welcome back, Alexander, from last week. He says, who will be the oldest player this year? Who will be the most successful in the Premier League, maybe over all the ages? There's a few in there this year who are like getting on a bit in the Premier League. Like, what's Ronaldo? 36.
Yeah, but you say getting on these. Well, let's put Ronaldo aside because he's not a 36-year-old. He's like a 30-year-old.
Yeah,
so
he's built like me.
Freak. So just put him to one side. Just don't think of him as old. Just think of him as a freak. So, but Cavani, who else is there? Old players.
trying to think. A lot of them.
Fernandinho, he's getting on now.
How old is he, Fernandinho? He's got to be mid-30s, hasn't he? I'd have to have a think about that and have a look at some of the players. Like off the top of my head, I can't think, but I know that there is quite a few older players around at the moment. But like you got like
few centre halves that are getting on.
Yeah, some of the keepers like you got like Ben Foster's like 38, I think, at Watford. The Norwich keeper as well.
You can
get away with it a bit, can't you? But yeah, I think. But then you got like Phil Bardsley is 36 at Burnley. Ashley Young. I think Ashley Young will do quite well for Villa. I do.
Yeah.
Who else we got? Is Will.i.am still at Arsenal? He's like 33.
No, he's gone back to Brazil, hasn't he? William.
He did go back today. So who do you think is the oldest footballer in the Premier League? Because this has shocked me. I mean, it shocked me so much. I'm going to check it now because I don't think it can possibly be true. Who would you say is the oldest footballer in the Premier League at the moment?
Oh, at the moment,
I know it was wrong. I thought it was wrong. So on this list, it says the oldest footballer is Angus Gunn, who plays for Norwich, and it's got his date of birth down. It's 22nd of December, 1963. So it says he's 57. It's wrong. He's 25. But according to this, it's Lee Grant and Ben Foster are the oldest two. Both goalkeepers, obviously, followed by Michael McGovern and Thiago Silva. But
Thiago Silva, yeah. But yeah, these are experienced players who have looked after themselves.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Like, if you go back, say, 15 years, those mid-30s players, the reason they was retiring is because they were not in the shape they're in. Like, most of these footballers now, 38, they're in incredible shape, you know? And it's different, isn't it? It's like Thiago Silva is 30, whatever he is, but he's probably got the fitness and the body fat of a 30-year-old. It's just, it's a different, they just all look after themselves so differently. Willie Caballero's 39, was at Chelsea last year. So, yeah, maybe they got Angus Gunn's date of birth mixed up with his dad's, by the looks of it, I reckon. Lorna says, Rhodri, do you think Romeo Beckham will have a football, or how do you think Romeo Beckham will do in his football career?
Yeah, that's a difficult question, that, because
how old is he now?
Pardon?
How old is he?
I don't know. 18, 17, 18. But usually, if no one else has signed you and you signed on for your dad's team, red flag. So.
Yeah. What about isn't Kai Rooney and Ronaldo Jr. both playing for United this year? I think they're in different age groups, possibly, but
yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Them two playing the same team.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, you could see the Rooney's kids are going to be decent because he's got a frigging football pitch in his back garden, a full 3G football pitch. So yeah, they're playing football every day. So
yeah, that's it now.
They'll be. I'm pretty sure you'll see the Rooney's playing football for a long time.
It would be iconic, wouldn't it, to see like Rooney and Ronaldo play for anyone, like and sort of line up together or against each other.
Yeah, so I find this difficult though because it's so much pressure for a
young kids as well. I think they're like under 11s or 12s or something. That's so much pressure. Can you imagine?
Whatever happens, you're always going to be compared. Always, never, no, always. Don't compare them, but you're always going to compare them. So, and that's difficult when your dad's Wayne Rooney and your dad's Cristiano Ronaldo. These best players ever lived.
Yeah. Can you imagine though, right? Ronaldo's son or Messi's son, they could go and have this incredible career, average like 20 goals a season for their whole career, do amazing, and they'd still be like, you didn't do as well as your father, though. And it's like,
yeah, exactly, and still be a world. Like talking about Harry Kane, the Harry Kane and Ronaldo, stupid idiots from Talk Sport, and one of them said he'd rather have Harry Kane in the final than Ronaldo.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, so,
that was embarrassing, mate. That was a good to say.
But the point is, no, Harry Kane is a world-class player, but we're talking about two different animals in Messi and Ronaldo. They're freaks. So how you could choose anyone over them two, or we're talking about Ronaldo, anyone over Ronaldo in a final.
Yeah.
He scored umpteen goals in a final, and Harry Kane scored 0. Just clickbait nonsense. It's crap.
Oh, yes.
It's a dumb footballer who doesn't do his research.
And that's what it was. I think when we talked about it last week, it was like they clearly hadn't done their research because, like you said, Ronaldo had scored multiple goals in finals and big games, and Harry Kane had never scored a goal in a final. And it was like, that's just the basic research for the conversation. But
and don't get me wrong, Harry Kane's a world-class striker.
Yeah, he's outstanding.
He's got a different.
Well,
they scored like 600 goals.
There's a reason why nobody else has won the Ballon d'Or in the last however many years it is. It's because no matter how good the various players over the years have got, they can have a great season, whether it's a Griezmann or a Neymar, all these players who've come close, Van Dijk and all these players who came close, but Ronaldo and Messi are just on this other planet in terms of their stats, their performance, everything. And
well, let's see if Messi is on that same, because he's been in a blessed team, and now he hasn't done so great in Argentina like Ronaldo's done in Portugal. So let's see how he does in PSG. Yes, he's got a wealth of riches and the best team, and they should walk it. So let's see how good he is if he goes to a different league and different players.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Like I said to you last week, mate, I really wish I wanted Messi to come to the Premier League. Didn't care who it was for. Just wanted him in the Premier League to see if he could do it, if he could, really kind of push it. Yeah, he did. Well, of course he did. Because, and to me, I'm not saying this is why, it's just my opinion. The one thing which people always separate Ronaldo and Messi from is they'll say, well, Ronaldo's done it in 3 different leagues. He's done it in England, which is notoriously the hardest league to do it in. Messi has never done that. And that's what always gets kind of chucked in there. And if he had come over here and really struggled, people would have used that as a barometer to judge him. Whereas he can go to Paris, he's probably guaranteed at least 30 goals a season, get a wedge of money, play with all the the various superstars they've got. It's kind of like an easy life to a certain extent, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Big Alan Jones, he says, do you think Troy Deeney will have a big impact at Birmingham this year for the championship?
I've just seen that come up on my screen that he's starting on the bench against Derby. So yeah, I think he's still got a bit left in him, and for the love of the club, the boyhood club, yeah, I think you'll see a good year or two out of Troy Deeney. Personality-wise,
I think he'll bring a lot to them as well, behind the scenes, because Birmingham got quite a young team.
He's not a lazy player. He works right, so follow by example, by working hard, and yeah, he's still got quality, Roy Deeney. And in the Championship, he's got experience there as well. So yeah, I think he'll
professional, mate, as well. And he's like one of those older players who's like he'll turn up with the right attitude in the right shape.
Yeah, he is professional. He wasn't so much a few years ago, but now he's eating right. He's lost a few pounds. So yeah, if he's still on that mindset, then yeah, he'll do some damage.
It's an interesting question, which I'd be very interested to hear your take on, because like we talked about it a few times on the football shows before. Like Cade says, will Wayne Rooney get the best out of Ravel Morrison? Will he be the one?
Well, if it's anyone who's going to get the best out of Ravel Morrison, it'd be Wayne Rooney.
But so I said similar. I said, if I'm Ravel Morrison, like Wayne Rooney is someone who I've seen come up from as a teenager all the way through his career, someone I probably admire. He's played for United, he's played for England, etc. Like I could see him relating more to Rooney than any of the other managers that he's been under. But then the other side of me says, well, if Fergie couldn't get the best out of him, is Rooney?
He was young then. He was impressionable. And he was hanging. I know personally the people he was hanging about with, and they weren't the people he should be knocking about with. So, but I think Wayne Rooney's going to be the one that's going to be honest with him as well. This is how many chances you're on. This is going to be your last chance. So you've been playing dog shit football. No, this is it. I'm giving you a chance. Just take it because you've got the quality. You can just be honest with him and say to him, just be honest with him and just be right up front with him. And I think
how good is he? How good is Ravel Morrison, mate?
Pardon?
How good is he, Ravel Morrison?
Yeah, he was really good. He still is really good, but time keeps going, doesn't it? But yeah, he was really good. But yeah, mate, when you're knocking about people who carry guns, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like two different worlds which can't coexist, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just impossible for it to keep going.
It's a big place, but it's not, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So, well, the thing is, when you run in certain circles, wherever you live, Manchester or Cardiff, wherever, like, those circles, even though the city might be big, those circles are quite small in terms of people know everyone and they know where people hang around and who they're hanging around with. And if
he was young. People make mistakes. He's still a very, very good player, and just hopefully, he has a good run at it and listens to the manager, because there's no better person to learn from than Wayne Rooney.
No, mate, nothing would make me happier than to see Ravel Morrison come out at the end of this season with 15 assists and 10 goals, and have really started to show what he can do, because. Like you say, time ticks on, seasons go by, he gets older, and if he doesn't do it for Derby, he's got to be late 20. I reckon he's the same age as Jesse Lingard, if I'm guessing. I will check now, though.
No, you're right, he is. He was in the same squad as Jesse Lingard and Pogba. So
28, yeah, bang on, 28. So, I just think if it goes badly at Derby, or it doesn't work out, I don't know if he'll get another chance, really.
It's just what level.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if it goes well at Derby, mate, there's no reason why he can't be back playing in the Premier League if he keeps that going. He's clearly got the quality.
The type of person, though, that if he's happy at Derby, why change it? He's playing football, he's happy. Maybe if Wayne Rooney went left, Wayne Rooney would probably take him with him. But he's the type of character just think, I'm happy here, I'm back playing football. I don't want to disturb it because he's had so many. That's the type of characters. Even if a big team come in for you, I'm happy here. Just leave me alone. Just not playing football. I think that type of character.
Especially if you've been in the situation where he's been, where you've been to so many clubs, if you finally get a club which you're happy at, you like the manager and you like the area and all that sort of stuff, why change it?
Well, he probably stays in Manchester, or Derby's probably an hour away, an hour and 10 from Manchester. So it's not that far. No. So, yeah, he's not that far from home, but like I say, he's older now, so.
Yeah. Messi went from a 3-team league to a 1-team league, says Holgate. That he's not wrong, really. I know PSG didn't win the league last year, but that was probably a freak of nature, really. Alexander says, is that Man United with Cristiano is going to cross a milestone because Juventus did not know how to draw the full potential of his game. So I think he means will United. I mean, arguably Juventus didn't play to his strengths, but I also think he outscored Lukaku, who just signed for Chelsea for what, just under 100 million, and that's it. I think the stats alone say that if you put the ball in the right areas, Ronaldo will score goals. I don't think you're going to see him running down the wing and putting in crosses like he used to back in the day. I think he's been signed as a number 9 because Cavani can't play every game. You might see him drift out wide. You might even, there might be the odd game where you see Cavani in the middle and Ronaldo on the left or the right. But I think 9 times out of 10, Ronaldo will be playing as a number 9. Am I wrong there, mate?
No, 100%. You just got to use him for his strengths. Look at Portugal, just leave him in the area and just feed him balls, and the ball will end up in the back of the net. It's just very simple, you know. Anywhere around the goal, he scores goals. So why would you want him out wide? Why would you over on the left when you've got Sancho, Martial, Rashford, Greenwood? They've all players that can do that now. So yeah, he'll score. Guarantee he'll score 25 goals. I nearly said 30, but you know I'm being reserved. He will score 25 goals in the Premier League this year. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I'd be amazed if he's. I'd be absolutely amazed if Ronaldo doesn't get like at least 20 goals in the league. You know, unless maybe an injury, suspension, something like that. I'd be amazed because
where it can go back to steamrolling teams. When you get on top of them, just steamrolling, and they've got the firepower now, and the mentality of, you know, let's just stick it, keep going, and see how many we can get. They've kind of got that mentality from 2 years ago, and they just kept on building it. But the players are getting better, so yeah, the mentality will keep on getting better.
Well, they're playing Newcastle tomorrow, mate. In the league at Old Trafford. Very quickly, I was looking at the Newcastle squad, and I was looking at the defenders they've got, and I was thinking, oh, could be a long, long day for some of those guys tomorrow. When you look at the firepower and the attacking players that United are going to put on the bench, let alone the first team, and then there's not a defender in that Newcastle side where I look at them and I go, quality defender, mate. Like, there's a couple who were all right, but there's not one which sticks out.
He's all right, but you know, it's
yeah. There's a couple which are all right. Like,
yeah,
there's
if it was
that dumb it.
Park, then I'd be saying no, but it's at Old Trafford. It's packed out. You can't get a ticket for that unless it's £300-400, which is haven't been heard of for years. So and that's all down to Ronaldo. So it's going to be bouncing there on.
What do you think the score's going to be?
Pardon?
What do you reckon the score's going to be?
I think it's really going to be a bouncing day, and it's going to be a 4 or 5-0.
A few people have said in the chat throughout that they reckon Ronaldo's going to score at least 2. Do you think he starts, and do you think he'll score?
People are saying this. Do you really think that Ronaldo's not going to start?
Yeah, he could be on the bench, mate. Could be on the bench. Overrated. He's done. He's finished.
I guarantee you now, Cristiano Ronaldo's for that.
Oh, mate, someone said, so I was listening to TalkSport earlier, and it was not yesterday, it's quite late, and this guy phoned up. He was a Chelsea fan, and he was giving it the, Ronaldo's in decline. He's, this is the beginning. They've signed him, they're paying him, all this money, and they're going to be embarrassed again, like they were with Falcao. And then the guy who was presenting said he was top scorer in the Serie A. He scored in every game he played in the Euros, and he's just scored 2 for Portugal against Ireland. Where did the decline start? Like, because it's like he's just a machine of these just goals after goals after goals wherever he goes, and it's kind of like, all right, show me where's the decline, because I haven't seen it.
And just when people say that to me, I just laugh at them, and you're obviously are scared of Man United now when you're coming up with daft rubbish statements like that, because it's out there. It speaks for itself. Look at the data. He's top goal scorer in Italy. He's just got the Golden Boot in the Euros. It was 2 months ago, and he's just scored 2 goals in 2 minutes with like Joe Jordan-esque headers. Absolute stanchion, the second one. So yeah, to win the game, and then not even talked about. He's ripped his top off, got his top out, got another yellow card out. No one's asked that he misses the next game. It's Ronaldo. At top off, yeah. You can do.
And do you know what he done? He could have taken a few days off. Could have stayed out there with Portugal. Had a bit of a break. Straight back to United, mate. Yeah. Man's a professional. You got to give him that. Cade says 6-2.
He's so good, mate. He's a machine.
5-0.
Machine. He pays millions and millions of pounds to people to look after him, to keep him in peak shape. That's the way these people do. these people go about now. The top elite stars, they pay money. No, he earns millions, Ronaldo. 2-3 million to looking after his well-being to get another 3 or 4 years out of him, and then another 80 million a year. You know, it's worth paying for.
Has he ever had a long? Donna says, has he ever been injured? Has he ever had? Like, I don't remember him ever having like a 6-month injury. Do you know what I mean? Like a long termer.
Touch wood, no, because you know, unless it's muscle injuries like groin or hamstrings. But like I say, he's in peak physical. He has nutrition. He has fitness. He trains like 5 or 6 times a day. Swimming pool, all the kinds of stuff in his house. It's all about recovery. Absolute freaks.
But then, like, because of his age, if he was to get an injury, like a longer term injury now, then of course you're going to have this worry that maybe that could be like the start of the decline. But because people are always going to say that. They said that about Ryan. Oh, he's 35, 30. He's still playing. He's 41. That's what they're going to say. They'll always say it. It's just like, whatever. You just got to just brush it off and just carry on. That it will happen. It will happen this season. But you just got to go, do me a favour. It's happened once. Let's see how he recovers fit, and then we'll talk about it. But as soon as he has one bit in whatever, you're going to say, oh, because of his age or whatever. Yeah. Let's
see if that happens first, because it's not happening.
The other, Alexander said, he said, you've got to remember as well, is that the Serie A teams are really defensive. Like, they're really strong defensively. And the man, he still outscored Lukaku, who's a £100 million striker. So
notoriously defensively Italian.
Yeah.
Strong, horrible, fitness off the charts. So, yeah, these people don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about. Chelsea have just paid 90 million for a goal-scoring donkey, and then you've got moaning about Ronaldo for 2.5 million a year, whatever. Do me a favour. You don't know what they're talking about.
And the thing is with Lukaku, I was listening to someone today actually say that the reason Lukaku wasn't a success at United is because United won't alter the way they play for one player, whereas other teams will. If you
his build-up play was rubbish.
Yeah,
you could see it against Liverpool. There, you get a good centre half, and you can, you put pressure on him. His touch, his trampoline foot, it's not changed. It's just not. He's a great goal scorer, don't get me wrong, but he just doesn't fit for Man United. That's plain and simple. He'll do well at Chelsea. He'll score lots. Do you think
Chelsea will alter the way they play to play? Because
I think you've seen it against the lesser teams. You'll see him bully him.
He's a bully, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he can bully him, and he's strong. He's physical. He can come short. He can go long. So he can do all that. But yeah, 90. Yeah, but he'll do well for Chelsea, though. He'll do well for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think Chelsea. I think Chelsea are going to be right up there this year. Right, I wanted to talk. We kind of got sidetracked a little bit, but it's difficult not to talk about Ronaldo this weekend, of course. But the Argentina and Brazil thing is just mental to me. And like I said, we had a little chat about it off air. So Sunday's match was halted literally just after kickoff, after the Brazilian health officials objected to the participation of 3 Argentinian players that they say broke quarantine rules. So the game was abandoned. In turn, the Brazilian players have been banned for 5 days. Rhodri will be back in a minute. If you've got any questions for us all now, get them in and we'll answer them. But just in the meantime, Sunday evening, I am live with MMA legend, Mr. Danny Batten, and we are talking to Welsh light heavyweight boxer Cody Davis, which is going to be good stuff. Looking forward to that. But yeah, if you've got any questions for us, send them in. I've also got what else have we got coming up? I've got a Keeping It Real wrestling show coming out tomorrow. Return of the Serial Killer Files is also coming out very, very soon. start recording that next week. So looking forward to that. It's going to be good stuff. But, Rhodri's back. Okay, so look. And also Super Kevin Scripted will be back next Wednesday. Time to be confirmed. It'll either be usual time or it'll be 11 o'clock with a special guest. But we'll see how that goes. So, Rhodri, I was just saying about the Brazil-Argentina thing. And then the follow-on from that is that all Brazilian players are banned from playing in the Premier League for 5 days this week because I think it's that to do with the fact that they didn't release the players.
Did release players? No, I think it's that they didn't inform the Brazil authorities or give out the right information when they've come into the country, and then they've just made a big, massive drama out of it. I'm pretty sure it could have been sorted out before we even kicked a ball. So, yeah, it was a whole lot of drama for no reason.
Yeah, if there was an issue with these players, of not following quarantine rules or whatever it was, why on earth didn't they do it before the kickoff? It makes no sense other than it was just to cause a big scene and cause a problem. Otherwise, you would just do it before kickoff. You'd go to the referee and you'd say, well, these 3 players shouldn't be playing. As soon as you saw the team sheet. But they didn't. They waited. And I just think, come on. It's a bit embarrassing, I got to be honest. So the Brazilian players are not released by football clubs. So they're now banned from playing for 5 days, which is basically the weekend's fixtures. Which Premier League club is that going to affect the most, mate? You're breaking up a bit, mate. You still there?
City, Edison, and Zeus, but you've got to say Liverpool. Firmino, the keeper, and there's one more. Who's the other one?
Central midfielder, is it? No. Fabinho, yes, of course, yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, they missed 3 players. So United just Fred. So it's not too bad, even though we're missing. He's got good legs in the pitch, but don't miss too much. But yeah, Liverpool and City, because they're real quality, and the wage bill from just Liverpool alone, from they're paying players 2 or 3 weeks just to sit about, do nothing.
Yeah, it's a weird one because look, with the way the world is now, if you're playing these footballers thousands of pounds a week, and there's certain countries around the world which are still really struggling to get a hold of COVID and all this sort of stuff, you don't want those footballers traveling to those parts of the world and putting them at risk, especially if they're not vaccinated and all this sort of stuff. Why wouldn't you want to put a stop to it until things get a bit calmer in those parts of the world? You got to look after your assets, as it were, in terms of the players. So I do understand the clubs not wanting the players to go. Yeah, I think for United it doesn't make a big difference because Fred, they've got other players who can play there. But for Liverpool, for Man City, it could be a problem. Right, Alexander Rhodri asked for our predictions for Man United Newcastle. So you said 5 or 6-0, didn't you? And I will go with. What will I go with? I will go with. I think 3-0 United, just because I just see that the way they go. Man City, yeah, you're right there, Craig. Man City could be struggling for a keeper. Let's just change that back. Right, sorry, mate. You were breaking up a bit then. I don't know what was going on. But Man City could be struggling for a keeper then, couldn't they? Because isn't their sub-keeper a Brazilian international as well? I'd have to check that, but I'm sure.
Did they keep Scott Carson though?
Oh yeah, possibly. Yeah, they did. I think I just read that then. So they got Edson. Let's have a look now, because there's a thing. Yeah, Man City faced goalkeeper crisis as Brazilian players hit with Premier League ban. So, so Scott Carson is basically their only choice, or they go because their number 2 keeper, Zach Steffen, is out after testing positive to COVID while he was on international duty with the United States. And that's the point I was making, mate, is these football clubs, they don't want their players travelling all around the world when they're not in control of the bubbles and the things they're in, because it can cause all sorts of problems. Right. Rhodri, I appreciate your time as ever, mate. It's always good fun to chat. It's a bit of a shame we had some internet issues at the end, but mate, it's always good crack. And I look forward to next week discussing Ronaldo scoring 8 goals versus Newcastle, and United beating Newcastle. Cardiff City will win 6-0 tomorrow as well. There we go. It's all good, mate. Guys, thanks for watching and joining us as ever. We'll be back next Friday, and I'll be dropping a couple of shows over the weekend, and I'm back live on Sunday. But do join us for all the live shows, because I've got a few announcements coming as well with regards to new content, guests, etc. So keep an eye on the social medias, download the audio version, and of course follow all the Facebook pages. Cheers.
Giggs. G-I-G-G-S. No. Rhodri.
Is there anything that Lionel Messi is better than you at? It's opinions. I respect your opinions. Maybe in your opinion Messi is better than me, but in my mind I'm better than him.
I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Told her if it's all me, everything is on me. Gon' back it up. Matter what? Told you I'ma do me. Why you hating on me? It's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck. Country heart, I might cop a farm and go add up.